Hello, everyone. My name is Catherine from SEB Housing, and I'm going to be running the lottery for the affordable units at the Penstone in Walpole. And I'll get the lottery underway, the drawing underway in just a couple of minutes. If you have any questions during this session, you can either unmute yourself. When you came into the meeting, you were muted just to minimize outside noise, but there's also a chat function in Zoom that you could type your question into as well. So let me know if there's any questions as I go along. So the meeting is being recorded, as you heard when you came in, and that's because it's going to be posted to SEB Housing's YouTube channel after tonight for anyone who wasn't able to join us that wants to see the lottery drawing. So all the information I'm going to give you right now is basically just who applied, to kind of give you some background information on that. And all of it will actually be in an email to you later on tonight. So no need to write any of it down. So everyone who is approved for this lottery should already have a lottery application number. So that's the number that's in the form of a series of numbers. So in this case, your number is between A.001 and A.0273. If you don't have it, or you don't have it in front of you, let me know and I can look that up for you. So there's 67 total affordable units, 243 total completed applications. So there's going to be 243 households in this lottery. And the numbers go up to 273 because we had to remove some duplicates and people who withdrew their application. So there's 24 one-bedroom apartments. We had 51 applicants for those one bedrooms. There was no one-bedroom applicants who needed or reported that they needed the accessibility features. So there's going to be an extra unit added to that waiting list. And it will be available to households who don't need the accessibility requirement. There's 33 two-bedroom apartments. There was 91 applicants for those two bedrooms. There is one disabled accessible unit that's a two bedroom, and the two applicants who indicated that they need those accessibility features will have priority on that waiting list. For the two bedroom units, there's 86 households who are either type 1 or type 3 households, and I'm letting you know that because they will have priority on the waiting list over the type 1 households on the waiting list. And so if you remember back when you completed your lottery application, you indicated your household type and we confirmed that for you. And so you want to keep in mind that for the 2-bedroom and the 3-bedroom waiting list, the larger households or the larger household types are going to have priority for those waiting lists. And that's just because the affordable housing program is designed so that households don't have priority for more bedrooms than their household might actually require. But then back to the 3-bedroom. So there's 10 3-bedroom apartments. There was a total, those are the most popular. There was a total of 125 applicants for those 3 bedrooms. Almost all of them, 124 households, are type 3 households. So they will have top priority on that waiting list. So for the drawing tonight, I'm going to be doing it digitally, meaning I'm going to be using a website. I'm going to insert the lottery application numbers into a list randomizer function on the website random.org. That's how a lot of agencies are doing their lottery drawings these days, including SEB. And I'm going to put all 243 lottery application numbers into that function, and it's going to automatically generate an order for the numbers, which is the randomization is the drawing. So it's going to be instantaneous. You're going to see it happen on your screen right away. So you're not going to be listening or waiting for numbers to be drawn from a box. And I'll share the screen so you're able to see that. And actually, before I share the screen, before I do the drawing, I'm going to share my screen just so you can get a sense of what that's going to look like when I go to the random.org website. So I'm just going to pull that up just to do a simulation for you, just for demonstration purposes. So I'm going to share my screen real quickly. And you should be able to see just this really basic looking website, random.org. Is that what you're seeing right now? Let's see. Hold on a second here. really basic looking website, random.org. If I scroll down to list randomizer, that's the function that I'm going to be using for the drawing. So again, just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to type in the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. When I actually do the lottery drawing in a few minutes, it's going to have the lottery application numbers in the format that you're familiar with. So A dot, a series of numbers. But just for demonstration purposes, I'm going to click randomize, and it basically spits the numbers back out in a random order. And that is the lottery drawing. So in this case, number 4 came up first, and then it goes from there. So just wanted to show you that before I do the actual drawing. So let me get out of that. All right. So when we're doing the drawing tonight, you're not going to actually know when I do the drawing where you fall on the waiting list, because I first need to, which I will be doing tonight, sort the results onto the waiting list. So like I said, the larger household types are going to have priority for the 2-bedroom and 3-bedroom units. And if you indicated that you need that 2-bedroom disabled accessible unit, you'll have priority for that unit as well. So after the lottery tonight, an email is going to be sent to everyone with more information on next steps. And in that email, or attached to that email, I should say, there's going to be the waiting list. So those will be sorted waiting lists that I have sorted based on the results of tonight's drawing. And you'll be able to see, once you see those waiting lists, where you're positioned relative to other lottery applicants. If you apply for more than one unit size, so if you were eligible for a 2- and a 3-bedroom, you'll be on 2 waiting lists. So just make sure that you keep that in mind. If your lottery application number, once you get the waiting list, is highlighted in green, that's just indicating that you're one of the top households on the waiting list that will be immediately or very soon invited forward to move on to the next step in the process, which is completing the lease and program eligibility screening with the leasing office. So the management team over at the Penstone will have your contact information. You'll have their contact information after tonight as well, so you can coordinate those next steps if you're one of the top households on the waiting list. Because it's important to keep in mind that SEB Housing right now, we haven't asked for your pay stubs or anything like that. You've just self-reported your income on your lottery application. And you were entered into this lottery based off of that self-reported income. So to complete the next screenings, you'll be in touch with the leasing office, and they'll require your supporting income, asset, tax information, and all of that. So if the leasing office finds that you're eligible, if you're the top person on the waiting list, you'll have the first chance to select, reserve, and lease one of the apartments. If you're not one of the top households on the waiting list, you won't be, and you're not highlighted in green, your number isn't highlighted in green, you're not going to be contacted right away by the leasing office. However, if for one reason or another that one or more of the top households on the waiting list ultimately doesn't rent the unit, maybe they're found ineligible, maybe they just changed their mind, then the leasing office is going to continue down the waiting list to fill the affordable apartments, which certainly does happen. You know, there's 67 apartments here, and there will be, for sure, be more than 67 people screened. That's just the way it works out. So if you're not at the top of the waiting list, it doesn't mean that you won't be called forward a little bit later. The units at the Penstone are available now, so it shouldn't be much of a wait after you have completed all of the required screenings, and you know, the leases shouldn't be too far off. And then we like to just one final thing before the drawing. We like to remind everyone that as long as you're living in an affordable apartment, you will need to recertify your income every year. So the leasing office will be requesting, you know, say you sign a lease for July 1st, around this time, or probably in April of next year, you would be, the leasing office would be requesting that you submit, you know, updated income information, all of that, to confirm if you're still eligible for the affordable housing program. So just keep that in mind. Make sure that you're able to, you know, access your tax and income information easily to be able to recertify. Any questions before I do the actual drawing? And again, I'll be sharing my screen to do the lottery drawing.
I do have a question.
Oh, sure. Whoever's first, go ahead.
My question was, so I just want to clarify if, so the priority is not by who was called first in the lottery, it is by your actual number? Like if I'm number 50, but I was called first in the lottery, am I not going to be the priority?
Not necessarily. So I'm going to share something on my screen right now just to give a little more context. So this is the information packet that shows the waiting list priorities. So if you applied for a 2-bedroom unit and you're a type 3 household and you were drawn absolutely first in this lottery, then you will be first on that waiting list. But if you're a type 1 household, you're going to be further down this waiting list. Or if you were drawn 6, we don't know how many people ahead of you were also a type 2 or 3 household, so we don't know exactly where you're going to fall on the waiting list yet. But if you are like one of the very first numbers when we do the drawing, there's no way that you won't be at least in the highlighted green numbers because, you know, there's 23 1-bedroom units, there's 33 2-bedroom units, there's 10 3-bedroom units, if that makes any sense.
Yes, understood. Thank you.
Yeah. Someone else, I think, had a question.
Yes, I had a question. Is there a priority for people that already live in Walpole?
There isn't for this lottery. There are for a lot of the lotteries we do, but this one does not have local preference, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. I thought I read that somewhere.
Yeah. No, not for this one.
Okay.
A lot of them do, but yeah, that's usually another priority layer on these waiting lists, but this one's a little more simple. It's just by household type. Anyone else before I do the drawing? All right. So I'm going to share my screen again. I'm going to go to random.org. And actually, you know what? I'm going to bring up, there's just a spreadsheet that I have with all of the lottery application numbers. So I'll be able to put those in. Get that open too. All right, so I'm going to share again now. So this is random.org again. This is the spreadsheet that I'm going to be using just to, you know, all of these. This is 243 application numbers here that are going to be copied over to the list randomizer in random.org. It goes down to 244 instead of 243 just because of that header there. So just so there's no confusion, there is only 243 numbers. So I'm going to copy all of these numbers. I'm going to go back to the list randomizer and I'm going to paste them into that box. So when I click randomize, it's going to run the lottery drawing for the Penstone and Walpole, and then I'm going to take the results and put them on the Excel spreadsheet just so it's easier to look at on your screen. So just give me a second with that. So I'm going to click randomize. This is the lottery drawing here for the Penstone. Number 5005 was first, and then it goes down from there. So I'm going to copy and paste the results, like I said, just to make it a little easier to read. And then I'm just gonna, just give me 1 second here to make it easier to read. So I will be able to scroll down and show you the results. And I'm just gonna hide the numbers here so it's, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to scroll down so everyone can see the results. If you don't see your number and you want me to look it up for you, I will look it up and let you know the order that it was drawn in. But again, just a reminder that these aren't the final results of a waiting list because I still need to sort the results onto the waiting list. So I'm going to scroll down now. It starts here. The first number drawn was A.005, followed by A.070, and I'll go down. Make it a little bigger here. All right. So there's 243 numbers. It'll just take a minute or so. And as I get down to the bottom here, if you didn't see your number and you want me to look it up for you, if you just want confirmation, you can plug your lottery application number into the chat function now, or you can unmute yourself if you're on the phone or would prefer to do it that way. I'm going to scroll back up to the top here. All right, A.027. A.027, you were drawn, I'm going to come up with a few people just because it's in the hundreds. So you were drawn 146. A.0216, 0216, you were drawn 104th. A.0195. Hold on a second here. A.0195. You were drawn 28th. A.0242. You were drawn 214th. A.097. You were drawn 71st. A.011. You were drawn 32nd. And again, these numbers don't tell you a whole lot right now because I do need to sort the results on the waiting list, but since there are so many affordable units, even if you have a less than favorable position on the drawing, in the drawing, you may still be called forward just because there is going to be quite a few people screened to be able to fill all of the apartments. All right, so A.0251, you were 74th. And then A.042, you were drawn 119th. Anyone else? So the good news is with this is you're going to have the
I have 8023.
Sure. So say it again. Oh, A.023.
Yeah, that's correct.
023. You were drawn 139th.
100.
Hi, how are you? I have A.06267.
0267. You were drawn 48th. And then I see a question here for 0254. You were drawn 64th. And so the good news is you'll have the waiting list tonight. It will come from info@scbhousing.com. That's the email address that you can expect to get an email from, and you'll have more information about where you actually fall on that waiting list. So I see another one here, A.0185. You were drawn 88th. Anyone else? So, like I said, you can keep an eye on it. Sorry, go ahead.
219.
0219. You were drawn 144th.
Okay, thank you.
Yep. Anyone else want me to look it up? So keep an eye on your inbox tonight. It'll be coming from, the email will be coming from info@scbhousing.com, and it will have next steps in the process, a lot of the information I mentioned tonight about who applied, and also you'll see if your lottery application number is one of the top numbers listed on each waiting list. If it's highlighted in green, you'll be contacted by the leasing office sometime very soon to complete the next steps in the process. And of course, if you have any questions on the results or anything, you can reply to the email that you receive as well. Thanks everybody for joining, and we'll be in touch very soon. Good night.